Hello, Realtors. Welcome to your SCR update number 345. As always, I'm your host, Nick Kremydas, Chief Executive Officer, South Carolina Association of Realtors. I am joined today with your General Counsel, Byron King, and we've got a couple of updates for you today that we wanted to make sure you were caught up on, and we're starting to get into the full swing of the multiple holiday seasons that are coming up, and I thought maybe we'll get a little jump on Halloween today and maybe talk about some haunted properties and some other things. But first, let me fill you in on where we are with our Realtor relief efforts. As you know, the aftermath of Hurricane Helene has left a dramatic impact on South Carolina and our surrounding states. The National Realtor Relief Foundation approved our grant request of $500,000 that we are making available to residents of South Carolina that have had their home damaged by Hurricane Helene. We are processing grants up to $1,000 per home and for anyone in the disaster areas across the state. As of this morning, we've received about 140 applications, which means we still have a lot of money left that can help a lot of folks around South Carolina. I want to thank the Aiken Realtors, the Greenville, Spartanburg Realtors, the Western Upstate Association of Realtors. The Governor McMaster hosted a series of what he called county days in each of these areas, where all of the state agencies, FEMA, a ton of nonprofit groups were there on hand, on site in these communities, providing information, relief information for residents. Tomorrow, the next county day is scheduled for Greenwood, South Carolina, and I've got a call with the Greenwood volunteers here just a little bit later today to get ready for that process. But we're handing out applications. Mike, if you could put our website link to the online application and encourage all of our members to share this with your entire circle of contacts. We're trying to get these into the hands of local churches, local ministries, local nonprofits. We've been approved for these funds, and we're going to try really, really hard to give it all away, because obviously it's not helping anybody if it's sitting in the bank. We've got to get this out to those folks that have been impacted by the hurricane. Relief efforts continue going on in other states as well, and our thoughts and prayers are with all of those who are on the front lines and making a difference in people's lives. I know there was a call out. I saw this list over the weekend. A lot of the western North Carolina towns are open for business, but folks are staying away because of concern of the damage and the other impacts that were caused. And these folks need your business now more than ever. So, it's October, probably not a bad time to head up to the mountains. There should be some beautiful foliage and can help save a local business at the same time. So, speaking of which, Byron, we've got Halloween right around the corner, and we've often deal with this question, I guess, around this time of year, but dealing with stigmatized properties in South Carolina. And the newspapers, the media always love to run kind of the haunted house stories this time of year. So what are the legal obligations to disclose a property that may be haunted, whether it's fact or fiction, but how do realtors, how should they deal and disclose stigmatized properties like that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So on the hotline, what I usually tell them is you've got the seller disclosure form. That's for real, for physical issues. You got a bed bug infestation, you got lead paint in an older house, there's toxic mold that's been remedied. But this is a little bit different. This is called like psychological stigma, so it's not something physical. It's something like a gunshot suicide happened in the property, or a horrific crime, a murder occurred there. Or like you were using like Halloween, like it's a ghost or something like that's in the house. So what I usually say on the hotline is Seller disclosure, disclose the hard issues, physical issues. Psychological stigma, the way this, because people can argue if it's real or not. So how do you disclose something that may or may not be true? So under state law, we don't have, realtors are protected, but what I tell folks is that neighbors are going to talk to the buyers after the closing, and especially the day before closing, they might find out a horrible crime happened there or a gunshot suicide happened there, and people that don't believe in karma, something like that, they may go ahead and close, but the people that are scared of that sort of thing might not close, so it could harm the seller. So what I do is have a conversation with your seller client. Here's the pros and cons. Let the seller decide, because if you disclose it, people are, the buyers that don't care are going to close. Buyers that might be afraid of ghost or karma, they can go buy something else, and some people might want to buy a haunted house. So those are some things I bring up.
What are the implications when a consumer asks directly a question? Has someone been shot or killed or died in this house? How should a realtor respond?
Yeah, so hopefully you've had conversations with your seller. You already know about that, and you've always already have directions from your seller. But it's always prudent to say, that's a great question, let me write it down. I'll talk to my seller client, and I'll get back to you with the answer. But you can't lie. If you know something happened, you can't say nothing happened here. But you could buy yourself some time. Call the hotline at 803-712-3478. Talk to your seller. Try to buy yourself some time, but you can't.
You can't lie. You can't lie about it, right? So realtors, there's a distinction between what is legally required under the statute, and then there's also what Byron was talking about was, making a smart business decision, right? Protecting your brand and your reputation. So while the law says you do not have an affirmative duty to disclose the way someone died or was killed in a particular property, chances are buyers are going to find out, whether it's before closing or after closing, and that could seriously create some harm to your public relations, your image, your brand. So it's best to have those conversations with the seller as you are preparing that listing for market. And of course, realtors can't intentionally misrepresent or lie when asked directly about a question like that. So, Byron, do you believe in ghosts?
That's a great question. Let me write that down. I'll talk to my psychic and get back to you.
It is a time of season where you have to ask yourself that. I've been watching the Disney, what's that, Agatha, the Marvel show on Disney, and I think that's a little out there for me anyway. But it's all fun, I guess, unless it gets real, then it can get kind of spooky. One thing that, switching gears a little bit, realtors, one thing that I wanted to share with you, we've been talking over the last few weeks. You may have received an email at the end of last week from the Real Estate Commission regarding a recently released guidance letter in regards to defining what first substantive contact means in relation to the agency disclosure form that's required by state law. And the disclosure form was recently updated. We're going to have a forms video out later this week. Austin Smallwood will be reviewing each of those changes for you. Very minor changes, but meaningful ones in regards to the national settlement on commissions. It provides some disclosure language and provides a new signature line for the brokerage that's engaged in that meaningful discussion of agency with the client. But in the guidance letter, one of the interesting points that the Commission makes is that first substantive contact means when you show a home. Showing a home is substantive contact that requires that meaningful discussion of agency and the presentation and signature on the agency disclosure form. Right, Byron?
Yeah, good point. Even virtual tours.
Yeah, even virtual tours. Mike, do we have any other updates for today?
Maybe the town hall.
Thank you. Our infamous producer, Mike Christ, is feeding me information here on the back line. We need to get earpieces, Mike, so that we can have these conversations without looking like we don't know what we're doing. But we did have a town hall meeting, a Zoom webinar scheduled for this week. We've rescheduled that for November. We're hoping to have some clarification on this Real Estate Commission update that I just mentioned. Our legal team is still reviewing its impact and its implication for our members. So as soon as we have a clarification on that, we'll definitely send an all-member email on it. But we're going to reschedule the town hall for next month, and we'll have more updates for you on that end. Having said that, I don't do a good job enough of thanking our executive producer, Mike Chris, for all the work he does behind the scenes. Keeping this all in track here at the studio is a tough job, and we appreciate everything he does. So, Realtors, well, before I go, Byron, thank you for joining me today. And we'll keep an eye out on those haunted houses as we go into the Halloween season. Do you like candy corn? Maybe that's a safer question.
I'm a chocolate person, I think.
Yeah, candy corn is one of those divisive things. I don't know, either you love candy corn or you hate it. I don't know. Mike, do you like candy corn? No, see, Mike doesn't like it either. I look forward to having like 2 or 3 pieces of candy corn, and then it's like I'm good for, till next year. But with that, Realtors, have a great week. Stay safe, stay Realtor strong, and we'll catch up again with you real soon. Take care, everyone.